Hey everybody, it's Alice, the CEO at Lone Design Club. We are back with another Instagram Live, and today I have a very, very special guest, Gordon Rennie of Good On You. So for those of you who don't know, Good On You is one of the best essential apps, in my opinion, for discovering information about sustainable, ethical fashion brands. So definitely, if you haven't checked them out, please be sure to do so. This is going to be a really interesting live talking all about Good On You and about sustainable fashion and looking at how this is changing because of COVID-19. So just in a second, we'll have Gordon join us. Please do ask any questions you may have. Just pop them in the comments. If we miss any of them, we'll be sure to get them in the DMs after. But do keep asking them, and when there's a natural pause in the conversation, we'll be sure to address them. So we'll just wait for Gordon to join, and like I said, any questions, put them our way.
Just pop them in the comments. If we miss any of them, we'll be sure to get them in the DMs after. But do keep asking them, and when there's a natural pause in the conversation, we'll be sure to address them. So we'll just wait for Gordon to join, and like I said, any questions, shoot them our way.
I kind of think I joined already.
So just while we wait, I'm wearing Alison Fern earrings, a metal story necklace, and NASA Studio t-shirt with my Kim Dave scrunchie that I made myself over the weekend.
Wearing Alison Fern earrings, a metal story necklace.
Maybe it's just being a little bit slow, but it says we're waiting, so let's see.
My Kim Dave scrunchie that I made myself over the weekend. So maybe it's just being a little bit slow, but it says we're waiting, so let's see.
Is it coming up for you to join me, Gordon?
I joined.
Is it coming up for you to join me, Gordon?
Yeah, I sent you a request. I sent you a request.
Now it's coming. Got it. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, guys. Some technical difficulties always has to happen, so should be joining in a second. Okay, amazing.
Okay, amazing. Here we are. Perfectly matching yellow background.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We're really excited to have you on LDC's Instagram Live. Away from Sydney, very exciting. If you just want to start by introducing yourself, telling us a little bit about your background and how you came to start Good On You.
Hi, Alice, and hi everybody who's joined. Great to be here. Yes, Gordon Rennie, I'm one of the co-founders of Good On You, which is probably the world's most robust and extensive service for providing ethical and sustainability ratings for fashion brands based on publicly available information. And so my background was as a consumer advocate working for an organisation in Australia called Choice, which stands up for consumer rights. It's a bit like an English organisation called Which. Excuse me. You know, we really focused on the fact that consumers want to make choices that align with their values, that are sustainable, ethical, good for the environment, good for labour. But it's actually really hard to do that because of a lack of trustworthy information that's simple to use about all the brands that you might want to shop for. So of course there are schemes which award marks to the best brands in particular categories, such as fair trade. And but there's nothing that says the relative ratings of many thousands of brands out there, which is what we wanted to do, because you as a consumer, as a shopper, you don't necessarily want to be limited to certain kinds of brands. They may not make the clothes that you want to wear. And if you want to wear a particular kind of clothes and you want to find the brand that is doing best on issues like impact on the environment, on workers, on animals, then you need information potentially about all brands. And so our mission really is to provide ratings for nearly every brand in the world, in fashion to start with, and maybe for other sectors like beauty and homewares and so forth after that. So, so far we've rated about 2,500 brands. You can access them through the Good On You app. You can also access them through our online directory. And we also publish quite a lot of content about with tips and guides and so forth that is helpful in making, you know, decisions about how you're going to wear the clothes you want to wear, but also do it in a way which is sustainable and ethical.
Brilliant. I mean, I think a few years ago now, I think it's a brilliant tool. It's very user-friendly as well. Breaks it down into a simple, easy to read fashion. Would you say that, you know, obviously we're talking about consumers, is that the primary focus is to get consumers to shop more consciously? Or would you say there's also the flip side of that, is that you want to promote brands to be more sustainable?
Oh, well, certainly we start, you know, with my background in consumer advocacy, we start in the shoes of the consumer, and we want the consumer to be able to act on their values easily without making it a big drama, without having to do hours of research. So absolutely right. It's designed to be as easy as possible to find how a brand rates, to locate alternative brands that do better on the things that you care about. But at the heart of the mission is a desire to, you know, harness that consumer power to influence the brands that have the biggest impact on these issues to change their ways. And of course, we're not the only organisation doing that. You've got many other organisations, whether they're certification schemes like the Global Organic Standard, whether they're campaigns like Fashion Revolution, many others, Clean Clothes Campaign and so forth, working on labour issues or environment issues, both. But we're unique, I think, in the way that we bring in the consumer's choices into putting that pressure on the brands to up their game. And we've really seen brands responding in the last 5 or 6 years, both to what consumers want, what consumers are telling them directly, what they're telling them indirectly through services like Good On You, what campaigning organisations like Fashion Revolution are saying, even what leading brands are saying. This, you can do it. Oh, you fell
Sorry.
over.
Sorry about that. Please continue.
Hazards of life. Yeah. So yeah, there are leading brands that are influencing others as well, and so there are many voices all working in the same direction. But I think the unique thing about Good On You is that we make it easy for consumers' choices to have that impact on brands. And even in the app, there's a direct campaigning tool. You can actually send a message to a brand as well. Although it's really the power of your wallet that is probably more influential.
And you said you have 2,500 brands. Are these international, or do you have sort of, are they predominantly based in one area?
Predominantly based in one area.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did launch in Australia 5 years ago, but we have focused on North America and Europe and UK quite a lot over the last, say, 3 years. And so our aim is to rate the high street brands, the big brands that everybody knows, and they want to know how they impact on those things they care about. But then also to have available as many as possible smaller, ethically sustainable alternatives. So they're the two kinds of brands we focus on, and we will eventually get to all other brands, but they're the ones that we're focusing on now. Am I breaking up a little bit?
Just lost Gordon.
Am I?
You're back. Sorry about that.
Did I go away? Did I? Yeah.
Yes. I don't know if it's maybe.
I was saying we focus on the largest brands, the high street brands, and the ethical alternative brands.
Okay, brilliant. So can you talk us through the rating system in a bit more detail? I know you look at, is it 3 main categories? What is sort of the process for analysing these brands and giving them an ultimate score?
A bit more detail. I know you look at, is it 3 for analysing these brands?
Sorry, Alice, I'm missing a bit of what you said there.
Sorry, I was just asking if you could talk us through in a little bit more detail about the rating system and sort of how you, from start, in as maybe not from start to finish every single step, but from start to finish, how you sort of go about rating a brand.
Yeah, so I think you're asking me how we go about rating a brand, and the key idea is that we look at publicly available information about brands. So because we stand in the shoes of the consumer, because we want you as a consumer to be able to have information about any brand in the world, because we believe that consumers have a right to know how brands impact on the issues that they care about. I'm not sure if you can hear everything I'm saying. Am I breaking up?
I'm not sure if you can hear everything I'm saying. Am I breaking up?
You're breaking up a little bit, Gordon. I don't know if it's your connection or it's my connection. Mine seems to be clear, but it keeps spinning on your side.
It's weird because I can hear you.
What I might do is I might just, sorry about this everyone, I might just end it and restart. If that solves whatever glitch we're having. So come straight back everyone, we'll be back in 1 second. Sorry about that.
Everyone, we'll be back in 1 second. Sorry about that.
Hey everybody, really sorry about the technical difficulties. We'll just get Gordon to join us back. Sorry about that. There's always got to be some kind of Wi-Fi issue. So we'll just wait for Gordon to join us back. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
We'll just wait for Gordon to join us back. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
Sorry about that, Gordon. Can you hear me better?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. I think it seems a bit clearer all round. Sorry about that, everyone. Thank you for tuning back in. So where we were just about to go through a little bit more detail about your rating system and how that works.
Yeah, great, thanks. The key idea is that our ratings are based on publicly available information. We believe consumers have a right to know how things are produced, how goods that you want to buy, whether it's fashion or anything else, impacts on the issues that you care about. And we're not alone in that view. We're not alone in that view. You know, Fashion Revolution and some leading brands all agree that brands should be transparent. So we rate brands based on publicly available information. That's the first thing. Second thing is that we look at what scientists and civil society organisations and sustainable brands believe are the most important issues, the most material issues that impact workers and the environment and labour as a result of the fashion supply chain. So we consult with other people, we identify the issues that matter the most, we score brands for how they are demonstrating their impact on each of those issues. So we have up to 500 different data points that we collect for larger brands, somewhat fewer for smaller brands, across issues within the environment like climate change, resource use, chemical impacts, water impacts, Issues in labour, like do they pay a living wage? Are they transparent about their supply chain? Do they have codes of conduct? Do they have worker empowerment initiatives, etc.? And then, of course, the kinds of materials they use and their impacts on the environment, and it comes as part of resource use, and also the impacts of those materials on animals. So we score brands on that basis, then we reduce the score down to a really easy to use overall score from 1, we avoid, to 5, great. And then, you know, we provide a bit more information about our rating in the app and on the directory so that you can look in more detail about the particular impacts that you may be caring about.
Okay, brilliant. And have all the brands have agreed to be on Good On You? Or is it...
No, not at all, no. We really assert that shoppers have a right to know how any brand... I mean, if you go into a shop and you like a black dress, for example, and you care about this stuff, which more than half the population does, you want to know whether that's the black dress for you or not. And part of the answer to that question is, how do they treat their workers? What's the impact on the environment? Perfectly good black dress in the shop next door. So the brands don't have a say in whether they're rated or not. Our aspiration is to rate 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 brands eventually, so that nearly every brand that you could possibly think of wanting to buy from, you can get information about.
How do you prioritise who you rate?
So, 2 ways. First of all, we prioritise the brands that people want to know the ratings for. So that's essentially the high street brands and the brands that people tell us they want rated. So we're getting a wireless issue again. And so first of all, we prioritise the high street brands, the ones that people want to know about. There are ways in the app to tell us, to vote for us to rate for particular brands. And so we do take notice of what users want to have rated. And the second group of brands we rate are the brands that are going to score highly. So we look around for brands that are likely to be sustainable and ethical. And not sure if this is all coming through, Alice. So first group is high street brands, including brands that users vote for. The second group is the ethical brands and sustainable brands that we can offer as alternatives.
Sorry, Gordon, I lost you again there.
Now I can't hear you.
Can't seem to hear you. Can you hear me?
Only through Zoom.
Can you hear me okay?
I think I can hear you only through Zoom.
Okay. Maybe can people hear us if I have the volume on Zoom?
Or if I do. Let's see what happens until we have some feedback. So I can hear you and I can see you. Hello, everybody else. Sorry for this problem.
Sorry, everybody. Not normally this many. Okay, so that's great. So and how have you found the consumer response to the app overall?
It's really great. I mean, when we first launched the app, we had 10,000 people download the app within 8 days. So we thought we have definitely designed something that people want. And, now we have more than 500,000 people each month engaging with Good On You one way or another, whether that's through our website, our app, our directory. So there's definitely a lot of interest in this, and a lot of people who want to know which brands are doing better and which not. I mean, we love it when we get messages from people saying how they've, Good On You's opened their eyes, or Good On You's a tool that lets them do what they want to do. We also really like it when, every week we're getting 6 brands approaching us saying, could you please list us on Good On You? We're really ethical. Most of them will be, but some of them may not be. So, there's a lot of interest in this. And I think it's a really good way to connect people who want to buy from smaller ethical brands, independent brands, even large ethical brands, and an audience that is actually interested in doing that. So we're kind of a matchmaker, if you like. We're trying to make it as easy as possible for people to find the specific product or brand that meets their needs and aligns with their values. Conversely, we're trying to help smaller ethical brands doing the right thing find their audience.
Yeah. I mean, I recommend it to everyone. I am a big fan. I remember the first day I heard about it, I downloaded it instantly. And since then, whenever anyone's like, how do you know who's a good brand? I'm like, have you downloaded Good On You? So I really highly recommend it as a tool. And it just also, because it breaks it down so simply, it is really, really easy to understand. Are you able to tell us which brands have some of the highest ratings?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously what we want to do is to do a better and better job, just to pick up on that point there, and to have more and more brand ratings. And we're a very small organisation, and it's just a resource limitation. So we're trying to find ways to increase our resources, and the only reason to do that is to rate more brands and get the message out to more people. Look, we've got more than 500 brands that are rated good or great on the Good On You rating methodology at the moment. A few larger brands, of which Patagonia jumps to mind, and Mara Hoffman not quite as large. But there are many, many small brands doing fantastic things. There's a brand in Australia called A.BCH, which is one of the most transparent brands in the world. Makes some nice clothes. We've got brands making all sorts of stuff, like Armed Angels, which is a really well-known European ethical brand, of course. Swedish Stockings, who make stockings, funnily enough. There are many, many brands, small ones, large ones, niche ones like Article 22, which is a human rights dedicated jewelry brand. Got Birdsong, which is a nice fashionable brand. Mother of Pearl is another brand from the UK. Funky Colour Cars, a smaller one. So there are a lot of brands, and I'm sure I've left off many, many great brands. Alison Whittles is another brand that we like and work with. And but singling those out, I'm not, it's too hard to list them all in an Instagram Live question, because as I say, that we have got more than 500 brands that have got a high rating, and a good bunch of them are, some of those brands are just making simple t-shirts or whatever, but there are others that are making fashionable clothes of one sort or another, or accessories.
I mean, that's a great statistic. If 500 out of 2,500 are rated good or great, it's brilliant. Brilliant.
But there's probably more than 1,000 brands that have approached us wanting to be rated, of whom probably 300 or 400 are going to make that cut as well. So there could easily be 1,000 brands that that get that rating, and we could easily have rated another 5,000 mainstream brands as well.
Brilliant. And
somebody's saying, love Birdsong, they're on LDC. So that's nice, isn't it? Just
yes, we are very, very happy to have Birdsong on LDC. I'm really happy about that. I'm a big fan. They don't have access to their warehouse at the moment, but I have ordered one of their t-shirts. So the minute they're allowed to be back in action, I will be getting my hands on that. Have you noticed much sort of change in users' attitudes since COVID-19? Are you seeing a conscious shift in people being more sustainable?
What we've definitely seen is a big increase in people I'm not sure if you missed all that. We're seeing a big increase in the last couple of months in people using Good On You to find brands, and we've, in March people were busy with other stuff and getting their life organised, and they stopped thinking about buying clothes a lot. But roared back in April, and online shopping increased, and people were using Good On You to find ethical and sustainable brands. So definitely a lot of evidence in our experience that people are coming to places like Good On You, and there's evidence from other sources, industry sources and research sources, that people are thinking a lot more about these sorts of impacts, at least at the moment. How long that goes on for, don't know. Will it return to the previous level? I think we're on an upward trend anyway, the last 5 or 6 years. There's a lot of talk about, and some data, Google searches for sustainable and ethical fashion are on the increase too. So obviously we all want sustainable and ethical fashion to be the only kind of fashion. That's what we're in the business to achieve. But
I wait for that day when we don't need to. We don't need to put it as a niche category. It's just fashion. That'll be a very, very good day. We've got a comment. Would love to see where Lulu lands. I'm assuming they mean Lululemon. I don't know if you've rated Lululemon on Good On You.
Look, we're just about to republish ratings for the top 50 or 60 brands. We've actually entered a partnership with Fashion Revolution and their Fashion Transparency Index to use their data on the top brands for labour rights ratings. I will be 99.9% sure that Lululemon will come in at about 3 out of 5. So it's a start. To the extent that they're positioning as a super sustainable brand, I wouldn't buy that myself. We recommend a half a dozen other activewear brands ahead of them.
Okay, brilliant. Well, hopefully that helps you, Newman, with your search for activewear. Maybe just go over and filter by it on Good On You.
Well, you can do that. You can search for activewear and Good On You. Also on our journal at goodonu.eco, you can find, there probably is an article called "How Ethical Is Lululemon?" How would say it? Lululemon. It's possibly about a year old, and we're about to, as I say, publish a new rating. So watch out, in the next 3 or 4 weeks, we'll have got an updated version of that article and that rating.
And are there some major trends that you hope to see in consumer patterns, consumer consumption patterns towards sustainability?
Well, I think one of the things, of course, it's not just about buying the most sustainable new brands. Yes, we do assert that brands have a responsibility to be ethical and sustainable and to be transparent about how they're travelling. But I suppose as consumers, we also have a role to play in looking after the environment and in the way we consume clothes. Excuse me. And, so we have an article on our site about 4 R's: reduce, repair, reuse, and recycle, I think. So, there are things we can do. We can not buy things we're only going to wear once and rent them instead. Or if we can't do that, we can at least find a good way to resell them. There's a bunch of useful resale sites now, as I'm sure most people know. A great newish organisation called Thrift Plus in the UK, which is one source of selling and buying secondhand stuff, and you get some of your money goes to charity and some of it goes to you. And there are more mainstream things like Depop and Poshmark in the States and so forth. So plenty of places, Fred Up as well in the States. So plenty of places to buy and sell secondhand, good condition clothes. And, love the fact that some brands like Nudie offer free repair services. I've never been so great with a needle, but others are good at it. And my niece, for example, is great at upcycling stuff, making them more interesting with your own creativity. So there's a lot of stuff you can do if that's your thing. And a lot of ways in which consumers can contribute to, or we as shoppers can contribute to more environment.
I've been trying to get better at sewing myself. I made this scrunchie from upcycled fabric at the weekend. I also made a headband, and I'm in the process of making my own mask. We've been doing weekend workshops with some of our brands, so I've definitely been learning a little bit more about sewing, but I'm not very good. So it is good to know that some brands out there offer it. Other than sort of, if we put fashion aside, do you have any other main tips for living a sustainable life?
Well, one of my tips is not so much to do this specific thing, but it's a way of thinking about it. And I think one of the real challenges here is you phrase it as trying to be perfect is the enemy of the good. So if we try and do everything perfectly for the environment, it's too hard. We can't live our life, and we don't do anything, we become discouraged. So I think what's important is to pick things you can do that have an impact, whether that's in your shopping choices or how you dispose of rubbish or cleaning products you use or whatever it might be, or traveling less or buying that electric bicycle or whatever it might be. But do things that appeal to you first, make them habits, and then maybe move on to the next thing. I think the worst thing you can possibly do is wake up one morning and say you're going to revolutionize your life, because we know what happens. You go to the gym twice, you never go again.
No, and I think that's a really interesting way of looking at it. I'm going to get you to send me that quote afterwards. It's brilliant. And this is sort of an attitude we've adopted here. You know, we support independent brands first and foremost. That's been the sort of history of LDC. We are looking to put more and more of an emphasis on sustainable and ethical fashion. It's very close to my heart. But something we like to do is that, you know, none of our brands are 100% sustainable or ethical or perfect, like you said. Most of them have chosen something that they want to focus on and they want to do well and they want to make a difference in that area. So whether it's, you know, making all of their products organic or making all of their products vegan or reducing water waste in their production or upcycling, a lot of them, because they are so small, have chosen sort of that niche thing that they're going to focus on. And I think it is important to sort of support that as well.
Look, I think so. Although if you're in business, I think you have a slightly higher obligation. Like, I mean, as consumers, I think my advice is don't get overwhelmed by trying to do everything. Do things that you can make stick and then move on to doing the next thing. I think as a business though, you need to, you know, not hide behind doing one thing well and ignoring everything else. I mean, I think you either have to be transparent about the fact that you are addressing this issue and not yet addressing this issue.
Yeah.
And not trying to use the thing you are addressing as a diversion from what you're not.
No, of course, yeah.
There's a very famous, supposedly ethical brand who goes on and on about how transparent they are about their factories, and has taken 5 or 6 years to not do very much at all about everything else. And despite the fact they are quite big and have a lot of money. So they have an undeserved reputation for ethics. They are trying to get better, but they're not there yet. And even a brand like Reformation, who are good about a lot of stuff, have a couple of things that they don't talk about. Like, I'm not sure if they've caught up, but last time I looked, they weren't saying much about their chemical use. And you could be a little bit concerned about their products not lasting as long as they might as well. So anyway, going back to the small brands, I think what you need to do is, yes, follow your passion and work on the thing that you care about, whether it's paying living wages to your top tier or addressing water issues or whatever it might be. But I don't think you can justify ignoring everything else. I think you need to understand where your impacts are. And I certainly agree that all the tools that you need are not freely available. There are a number of suppliers that can help with advice, but there is work you can do to figure out where you're likely to be having a big impact and what you might do about that. I think just going in saying we use all natural fibres and we pay a living wage just doesn't cut it when cotton it may not be as bad as polyester, but it's got a lot of issues.
Yes, it does. That's a whole other interesting discussion, the debate of cotton. I don't know if this is a question you'll be able to answer, but It's Me Dory has asked if you happen to know the best university in Australia that has a sustainable fashion major.
I don't know, but I know who will know. The Australian Fashion Council in Melbourne would be able to answer that question for sure.
I'm sure there's a great one.
I wouldn't be surprised if it might be one of the Melbourne universities like RMIT, but ask them. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's fine. Have a look at that. It's Me, Dory. So you've kind of touched on this already, but other than sort of the rating system and discovering brands, what else can people discover on Good On You in terms of content?
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, the core of Good On You is our database of brand ratings, which, as we said at the earlier part of the show, is 2,500 brands now, and you can use that to find how a brand your favourite brand or one you're looking at in a shop rates on the issues you care about, their impacts on animal, people, and labour. And you can also use it to discover new brands. We have a similar brands algorithm where if you're looking at a major brand like Lululemon and you say, oh, their rating isn't very good, we'll say, well, here are some similar brands. So we'll give you some other activewear brands, maybe in the same price point, maybe from the same country or whatever, that might meet your needs. And you could also browse by category, of course. You could go into activewear and find some of those same brands that way. So there is the directory which serves those two main purposes. How does the brand I know rate, and can I discover new ethical and sustainable brands that I might prefer? And the other main thing that we do is to publish a range of content, which includes tips, includes in-depth profiles of major brands and their ethical strengths and weaknesses, includes profiles of some small ethical brands, but also includes, you know, some issues. We have a series of articles about individual materials like cotton and wool and tencel and rayon and so on and so forth. So we look at the sustainability and ethical issues associated with each of those materials. And then we have a range of, you know, various tips and guides and news in the blog. So they're the main things that that Good On You can offer you. You know, one of the ways into this stuff, of course, is our Instagram account at goodonyou_app, which you can follow right now if you want to.
Yeah.
Shall I answer this question that's come up big on my screen?
Yes, I didn't know this could happen, but it came up and I clicked on it and now it's big.
Other people, it says, where do you think clothing rental and subscriptions companies will find themselves post-pandemic? This is really interesting because when the pandemic first happened and everybody was in lockdown, then I thought, well, rental companies and subscription companies generally focus on particular kinds of clothes, things that you only wear a couple of times, some exceptions, but I think the core subscription model is, God, I don't want to pay $800 for a Stella McCartney dress or whatever the pounds are. But if it's 80 and I can rent it once and it's a really important event, well, maybe that's worth it. And so, but in lockdown, you're not going to a party, a wedding, a baptism, anything like that. So you maybe don't need it. So I thought at first that rental would do really badly at the moment. Of course, we're coming out of lockdown now and there is some socialising, even if it's at a distance and not in big crowds. But I have just today seen some articles that some of those rental companies like Vestiaire and others are actually doing quite well. So that surprised me. So, but anyway, post-pandemic, yeah, I mean, some activities are not going to happen anytime soon, like, you know, music festivals or whatever. But as we move back to normal, as we go more likely to go into offices and visit friends and dinner parties and whatever, then people will come back to expressing themselves through fashion, which is one of the things fashion's about. And then rental companies are just a great option for that kind of outfit that you're only going to wear once for whatever reason. And, you know, it's so much better than having it hanging in your cupboard for 5 years and then throwing it away.
Yeah, I think it's a brilliant concept. I mean, normally, you know, I try and follow the whole 30 wears rule that sort of Livia Firth and Eco Age popularized. But definitely clothing rental for like that one night that you want that really nice dress, but you're never going to wear it again. It makes such a difference. I have read that obviously there's this hygiene question mark around clothing rental, and I think that was one of the reasons why people weren't sure how they were going.
Yeah, and the same for secondhand. But look, okay, so I visited Glam Corner, which is an Australian company. I will say there was a couple of issues with clothing rentals. One is there are obviously transport impacts and there are cleaning impacts. So the biggest environmental footprint of clothing businesses, apart from buying the clothes, so rental businesses apart from buying the clothes, is the cleaning, and it is the transport logistics. So what's interesting about rental companies, I think the question I'll be asking of my rental company would be, how environmentally friendly is your cleaning? Now, I know Glam Corner has invested a huge amount of money in the lowest water consumption, lowest chemical consumption cleaning that they can. And but that said, I mean, I'm confident that those clothes are cleaner than you would make them at home. So I wouldn't really have any. I think it's a bit, you know, objectively, I don't think there is a cleaning hygiene issue. Now, psychologically, for some people there may be, and that may impact their business, right?
Yeah,
and that's harder to deal with.
Well, I hope it still continues to survive and thrive, because I do think it's a great alternative. There are so many out there now, though, so you're almost spoilt for choice, but definitely a good option. I mean, Good On You has seen so much support, so much sort of popularity. one of your big supporters is Emma Watson. How did sort of that relationship come about?
Yeah, look, it's a good story. So yes, Emma has been for a long time a supporter of ethical fashion.
Yeah.
And she was invited to guest edit Australian Vogue in March 20.
Oh yes, I loved that.
2018, I think it was. So she said, oh, well, if I'm going to guest edit Australian Vogue, I want to work with some Australian people who know what they're doing in this space. And she found us. And she said, oh, maybe you should rate all the brands. You should advise me about the brands I should be wearing in the photo shoot for that particular issue. I mean, she covered a range of different issues, not just ethical fashion in that issue of Vogue, but she also had a photo shoot. She also had a page recommending Australian ethical and sustainable brands, which we gave her the information about. So that's how it came about. And then later we started talking, maybe a couple of months after Vogue came out. Guess what? Flat battery. I'll be right back.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Sorry, everybody. We have lost Gordon temporarily. It would appear that we are set for lots of technical difficulties today. But he will be back in a second. Gordon's just lost the battery, so we will be back in 1 second when he gets the charger. I hope you're all enjoying the conversation. Thank you so much for the positive comments and the questions you're all asking. We are so excited to be doing this live. I personally am really enjoying myself and learning a lot. So do continue to ask any questions. We probably are rounding up very shortly, but we'd love to address any more questions you have, so do let us know. And if you haven't downloaded Good On You, please be sure to do so, because it is a very, very useful app and very, very important. So if you also are not following us, Lane Design Club, please do, and check us out online. We hope to have more and more of our brands potentially rated on Good On You in the future. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Like I said before, today, if anyone's interested in my look, I've got my mismatched Alison Fern strawberry and pearl earrings. I've got my DJ hand embroidered t-shirt from NASA Studio, which is all about the political situation in Lebanon. And I've got my lovely Aries handmade zodiac necklace, as well as my pretty cool Kim Dave scrunchie that I made over the weekend, which you guys can do too. So we should have Gordon any minute now. We're getting that reboot. Like I said, anyone has any questions at all, please feel free to ask. We would be very happy to answer. And if we've run out of time and you forget your question, just DM us. And here we should have Gordon back. Brilliant. Brilliant. Thanks for coming back. Sorry, everyone, for the technical difficulties.
Thanks for coming back. Sorry, everyone, for the technical difficulties.
So, can everyone hear us okay now? Oh, we might need to mute Zoom again, because I think our volume's gone back to normal. So, Gordon, you were telling us, yes, how it continued with Emma Watson.
Yeah, so oh look, after that, we just talked about ways we could work together. And yeah, and so we agreed that Emma would be a supporter of Good On You, and we talk about it's been appropriate, and she generally uses our advice when she's wearing clothes in public events like a press tour for the Beauty and the Beast film and so on. So, yeah.
Brilliant. Well, I'm a big fan of hers. I mean, I think everyone is. I was a huge fan of that issue. I think it was so important when that came out. That might have even been how I found out about you, now that I think about it. I feel like that all happened around the same time in my life. Started discovering all those amazing tools. So obviously I don't want to send anyone to anyone else, but do you have any other apps or websites that you highly recommend for finding information about sustainable fashion and like being a conscious consumer?
Well, I think there are some interesting tools out there. We did a program where we met the great people from London behind Save Your Wardrobe, which is a wardrobe management app, which is quite interesting. Other tools about sustainable fashion. I mean, you know, there are a bunch of important certification schemes which certify that a brand is using, you know, making it in a particular way. I mean, Play with the Cradle is a very interesting one, very high standard environmental impact, which a small number of brands are able to meet and use. And of course, the fair trade no-go is good on labour rights. I also like what the Open Apparel Registry are doing. So they're basically performing a service for the world by bringing together all the information that's available about where brands are making clothes. I mean, that's particularly relevant to workers' rights in less developed countries in the supply chain, and so particularly useful for tracking what larger brands are doing. I mean, that's a level of detail that not everyone's going to get into, but I think it's a really interesting initiative. There's some really interesting circular fashion initiatives. I've just temporarily forgotten the name of the one in Berlin that I know, which is making a lot of progress. Sorry about that. Might just be called circular fashion. Fashion for Good is a great organisation to follow, publishing a lot of information, hosting some good webinars on sustainable fashion issues. And they've got a museum in Amsterdam if you're ever able to actually travel again. And yeah, that's a few.
Yeah, and I mean, this is quite a difficult question, but you know, if you had to define sustainability, do you, like, obviously you guys, great brands, you look at this a lot. What sort of definition do you give to that word?
Well, I suppose there's two parts here. The first part is, I mean, obviously sustainability means setting up systems which can be sustained into the future without causing undue harm to the environment, future generations, but also present generations. And so there is a lot of interaction between environmental impacts, which also impact on communities, particularly poorer communities, which also impact on animals. So there are interrelations between these things. It's also quite common where there are labour rights abuses in factories, there are also very bad environmental impacts. So there's a lot of interrelationship between issues. In terms of how we define sustainability for the purposes of rating brands, which we covered at the very, very early part of the seminar, and people might have missed it, we look at the publicly available information that people that brands are publishing on the most material issues, which we've determined in partnership with expert scientists, industry leaders, civil society organisations, and so forth.
Okay, brilliant. And just for all the brands watching who, like you said, might have missed some of the beginning, you know, if they are to be rated on Good On You, or even just generally they're just striving to be more sustainable, more responsible, what sort of, do you have like a top 3 things that, you know, or top 3 steps you believe they can take to sort of move towards sustainability?
Absolutely. Well, the first thing clearly is to know what your impacts are and work out what your most important impacts are. I mean, you can look at the document on our website called How We Rate, and the PDF that is attached to that, which gives a bit of detail of the issues that we think are important in the fashion supply chain. They'll vary a little bit according to the materials you use and your production practices, but it's a good starting point. And if you can check off against each of those, so in environment, for example, your greenhouse gas impacts, your resource use impacts, your water impacts, your chemical impacts, in labour, your wages, your safety and your transparency and worker empowerment. Then if you can check off each of those and what are you doing, what impacts are you having on those issues and what are you doing to address them? So that's the first one, understand your own business across the most material issues. And then I think the second thing you need to do is to be transparent, work out the story you want to tell people about what you're doing well and what you're not doing so well, and what your thinking is about if and when you're going to address those other issues. And you know, if you're really taking it to the next level, I suppose you look around for advice. You look around for people who can actually help you source more sustainable inputs or find more ethical factories to work with. That might be your peers, that might be various agencies that a common objective is a good resource to find people. I'm not sure if I'm getting through anymore because you've gone and frozen. Oh, you're back. I was just trying to say that common objective is a good source of information. You know, common objective is a good source of information. Okay.
Big fan, yeah. We've done a couple of events with them,
in the fashion environment, suppliers, whatever.
So my first point was know your impact. Second one was be transparent. Third one was get advice where you need it.
Third one was get advice where you need it. Common objective, and there are independent providers as well, like supply companies that can help you as well.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Common Objective. I've followed them since they were Ethical Fashion Forum, events with them recently actually. So definitely highly recommend them as a tool and a resource. Can everyone hear me, by the way?
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. The technical difficulties are never ending today. Well, I think that's probably all my questions. Do you have anything you'd like to add for anyone? Anything else you wanted to talk about? If anyone has any other questions, now is the time, or you can DM us afterwards. Oh, someone has a question. They said yes.
Yes, I have a question. Looking forward to it.
Yes. Do you have a question, Zinni? Maybe not. Maybe you can DM us if you think about it.
Yeah. No, I think we've, through the 45 minutes, in between our technical problems, we've covered a few of the key issues, like starting with the things that you can manage yourself and not trying to be perfect. We've talked about how Good On You's mission is to rate all the brands and how you can find how your favourite brand rates, and you can discover alternative brands using our similar brands algorithm or our category search. We've talked about some of the things brands can do, like look at the How We Rate page on our website, be transparent, learn your own impacts, that sort of thing. So
yeah, I'm definitely going to circulate that. Like I said, this is becoming more at the core of what we want to do, and it's really important to me on a personal and professional level. So I think it's important to encourage them, and I'm definitely going to send them that link because it might help them make some changes where they've been struggling. And I think, like you said, that power of like community and looking to people for advice is very important as well. So maybe they can find a lot of it on Good On You, and hopefully you'll have many more users after this live. So maybe like you're getting a lot of Katie, this will be saved. Yes, you are IGTV. So if you just go on to Lone Design Club's Instagram and you click on the IGTV logo, you'll be able to watch back the live. It will be in 2 parts because of our technical difficulties. But you can watch it. Be able to watch back. Is there any other questions from the audience? Technical difficulties. Okay, perfect. Well, Gordon, I will let you go. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a real pleasure. Big fan. It's really, really interesting to learn more about Good On You and how you guys work, and all the amazing impact that you're having on the fashion industry. Anyone who's watching, please do follow Lone Design Club and Good On You. Do as a tool to check out brands, because it is brilliant. It's very easy to use, so really, really helpful. And it sounds like there's a lot of brilliant content for all of you to explore as well. Gordon, thank you so much for your time. And sorry again to you and everybody for the technical difficulties. We got there in the end. Like I said, if anyone has any further questions, you can just drop us a DM and we'll be sure to get back to it. We have one more question, if you don't mind, Gordon. Maybe I missed it. What's the onboarding process?
Yeah, so our ambition is to rate every brand, and we do prioritise both high street brands and the brands users ask for, but also brands which are leading the way or doing well on sustainability and ethical issues. So we. Our problem is that we don't have enough resources to rate all the brands that we want to rate as quickly as we can. So there's a bit of a queue, but you can get in touch with us either by email info@goodonyou.eco or through our Instagram DM. It will be passed on and we can be in touch. It can take a little while, unfortunately.
Okay, well, ID is one of our brands who we've worked with for a long time, makes very, very beautiful stuff. They're a mother-daughter duo. So Anna, I know if it's you watching, do be sure to check that out, but you can also ask me for any more info at any point. Gordon, I will let you go.
Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate it's late in Sydney, so you're probably wanting to wind down for the evening. Oh, we've lost Gordon's phone battery, but that's fine. I will just finish up here. Tomorrow it will be me, lucky you, more of my face, back again on IGTV, IG Live with LDC. We will be talking to Stay, S-T-A-Y, and we will be talking more about sustainable fashion and all that exciting conversation. Shivek, we're going to end it here, but please DM me your question and I will get you an answer. Thank you all so much for watching. It's been a real pleasure. Check us out on @Lone Design Club and www.lonedesignClub.com, and check out Good On You at Good On You app. Thank you so much and have a lovely afternoon.